So, want to do a review?
Alright.
Long ago, back in simpler times, two of the top video game companies in the business, Namco and Capcom, came together to make a crossover game in which the world had never seen. No, not that! We're talking Namco times Capcom, or cross Capcom, or multiplied by Capcom, whatever. A strategic role-playing game which featured the titans of two well-respected factions teaming up to assist a young couple in the battle against the evil force. It was exciting, it was new, it was very long. No, trust us, we know. It was also originally exclusive to Japan, which it still is. But the gaming gods was smiling down upon us, and Project Crossover was localized. Not only that, but the game would also include characters from Sega, and it would be for the Nintendo 3DS. Lord knows that needs more games. So, was it worth the wait? Was it worth the sequel? Let's find out.
In actuality, Project Crossover is the third game in the series of crossover installments, being the follow-up to Super Robot Tyson: The Endless Frontier. How was anybody supposed to figure that out? We don't know. But it was. Maybe one day we'll play that game, but that's besides the point. One of the biggest things to love about these games are the amount of characters they put in it. That was the strength of Namco x Capcom, and thankfully it's the same here. Seeing iconic famed characters from otherwise rival companies interacting together was an orgasmic dream made a reality. This was a good cash-in to get people to buy the game, especially since some of these characters haven't been seen for years, and some haven't been seen outside of Japan. But why is this happening, and what is the reasoning behind this? Fortunately, there's a lot of good writing to give a good explanation of why these characters have met. Original characters such as Reiji and Shaimo, Kogoro and Mai live in Japan and are very familiar with the catastrophic waves that cause rips in reality, opening up portals through space and time due to original villains. This allows characters from neighboring companies to interact in the storyline. You'll be surprised to hear that even with this handful of characters in the story, it itself manages to stay cleverly written, involving all the characters and some of the elements from each of their respective games. With so many characters in one game that come from different franchises as well as gameplay genres, one has got to ask how the gameplay works. Fortunately, we are glad to tell you.
The 3DS was actually a good choice because this is one of the best games for traveling. It's a long story that progresses next to 50 chapters, and some of these levels can take some time to complete. If you're familiar with games like Final Fantasy Tactics or Fire Emblem, the gameplay should look relatively familiar. All of the characters move along a grid, like a giant action-packed game of chess. Now, some critics have called this game repetitive. Our answer to that is, well, what game doesn't get repetitive? Any game will get that way over time. The question is the gameplay still addictive and fun? And in this case, the answer is, well, yeah. Each set of characters have their own attributes. Some can move farther than others, and some can do greater damage. They also have their own set of skills to aid their combat. But how is this initiated? When you get close to an enemy, the selected character will have a ranged targeting system. If you get the enemy in the field of vision, you can go into combat mode. Once initiated, the game turns into a brief side-scrolling fighter. Though you cannot control leg movement, different buttons and directions trigger multiple attacks, juggling the enemy. This in itself is a lot of fun to do, and you also have to bear in mind the timing. The better you juggle the enemy, the more critical hits you get. If you fill up the experience gauge below, you can activate your character's super ability, which will look like an awesome anime sequence. Of course the enemies can fight back, but fortunately for you, you can either counter, defend, or just sit there and take it. With each battle, the characters you fight with gain experience to level up. The higher levels you get, the more attacks you obtain, as well as abilities.
It sounds simple enough, but play carefully. The enemies will eventually figure you out and find a way to exploit your weaknesses. That being said, most levels begin with a condition, telling you what you need to do to win, and who not to lose in battle. Failing to follow the rules of this condition will result in a game over. However, losing characters in battle does not make your efforts hopeless. With a full gauge of experience, other players can revive their fallen comrades and continue playing. We mentioned this is a good game to travel, the reason being similar to Pokemon games. Nothing happening without your interaction. Literally all of the in-game rules require your interaction to make them happen. It's not like playing a fighting game on the bumpy road where things can go wrong or it being difficult to see. You maintain control, and that's what counts. In the end, the gameplay will bring new surprises with interesting levels, recognizable bosses, and familiar enemies. And all your favorite characters fighting them all. The musical score of this game is also wonderful. Orchestrating main character themes from each character's game makes this soundtrack a must-have and alone a worthy means of purchase. So all in all, Project Cross Zone is a worthy successor to the crossover genre, offering an addictive, innovative gameplay that is fun and easily accessible for anybody to pick up and enjoy, as well as a good time killer.
Not to mention the most important aspect of this game that makes it worth buying. You've been watching the Brotherhood of Gaming. Make sure to rate, comment, and subscribe for more of our brand of YouTube goodness. And remember, keep on gaming, friends.